Rutland is a rural county in the East Midlands, made up of small villages, local pubs and sleepy market towns. Despite its Latin motto of multum in parvo, which translates to much in little, I can assure you that agriculture dominates the county's landscape. Consequently, there's been very little inward investment over the pandemic, and as far as what the area can offer in architecture and trailblazing enterprise, it may disappoint when compared to the City of London. In contrast, the town bordering Rutland, Corby, has been subject to a real boom in warehousing in the last 5 years, which has been accelerated further by the pandemic and a change in consumer preference towards online shopping and next-day delivery. Geographically, Corby couldn't be better placed for logistics companies and online retailers, with 90% of the UK population within a 4-hour drive for all deliveries. Whilst this provides great opportunity for the local economy, this poison chalice inherited by the town has and will likely continue to have a detrimental effect on the local environment and ecology. For this reason, I've opted to shed, no pun intended, light on the planning procedures, mitigating measures and environmental impacts of Midlands Logistics Park, a recently completed industrial development in this rapidly changing town. Midlands Logistics Park is a high-spec 2.5 million square foot joint venture financed by Frogmore Real Estate Fund and developed by Mulberry Developments. Situated adjacent to the A14, this development is perfectly positioned to take full advantage of the TEN-Tech Trans-European network, one of Europe's most important freight corridors. With this in mind, it is no wonder the scheme was entirely pre-let upon completion, securing tenants such as BSH Home Appliances, Europa Worldwide, and Eddie Stobart. Now let's look at the internal specification of the 4 units which make up Midlands Logistics Park. Each rooftop is fitted with a 230 kilowatt photovoltaic array in order to generate sustainable electricity. Rack loading has a capacity of 9 tonnes and each dock wall is constituted of 1,300 millimetres of reinforced concrete. Meanwhile, all cladding is guaranteed for 25 years. The units are all BREEAM rated very good, with an EPC energy efficiency score of A. Whilst the EPC rating is impressive, the BREEAM rating still leaves a lot to be desired, with questions raised by the locals over why the developer has not strived for an excellent or outstanding classification, such as Park Blue Planet in Staffordshire. The offices within the warehouses are equipped with an array of sustainable features to reduce the operational waste of the development. These include on-site rainwater harvesting, a solar thermal hot water system to heat the collected water, LED office lighting with automatic movement sensitivity and daylight controls, and lastly an enhanced curtain walling structure to improve natural lighting. Corby offers one of the largest pools of logistics and warehousing staff in the UK, with 13,000 logistics workers and over 14,000 unemployed living within a 30-minute drive of the site. Such is the importance of logistics to the area that Northampton and Tresham colleges offer warehousing and distribution apprenticeships, and Northampton College has a specialist academy to train the next generation of workers in the industry. The average gross weekly pay in Corby is approximately 17% less than the wider East Midlands region, which can be attributed to the oversupply in the labour market in relation to jobs available. With the developer promising to bring 7,000 new jobs to the town, it is no wonder the planning officers approved the scheme, despite it being outside the master plan for the area. Despite the undisputed positive impacts the development will have on the local economy in reducing unemployment and bolstering the through flow of trade, this has unfortunately been achieved to the detriment of the surrounding natural environment. One major concern of the development from an ecological perspective is that local records and knowledge about the site confirm that it supports a population of great crested newts. They are situated in the southwestern corner of the site. Although the permanent newt fence was in relatively good condition, there was concern that due to the lengthy interim period since translocation in 2007, there would be residual newts left that may have repopulated the ponds in the interim period. Similarly, a herd of fallow deer use the site and continue to use the retained woodland habitats and woodland edge. Other mammals include muntjac, red fox, rabbit and grey squirrel, which also use the site. Quite rightly, the planners were concerned that the light, noise, vibration and human disturbance generated by the development's construction and operation may have an adverse effect on these species and their habitats. The risk of collision to species arising from the increased traffic movements, alteration of groundwater flows, and the introduction of foreign invasive species to the site are just to name a few trepidations with regard to Corby's local ecology. In order to address these problems, the developer has taken several mitigating measures. The retained woodland of the Stannion Plantation will be clearly demarcated on the site, as is the fencing for the Great Crested Newt Habitat Zone. This fencing and markers are present to ensure that no damage or storage of equipment occurs within the retained woodland. In total, 587 Great Crested Newts, and also small numbers of smooth newts, common frog and common toad were relocated into the newt reserve area. The 2 lost ponds have been compensated by the creation of 2 new ponds in the retained woodland area. Overall, the newt reserve area has increased by 48% as a result of the development. With regards to any flood risk, the Environment Agency interactive maps show that the entire site is located within Flood Zone 1. This indicates that the proposed development site is within an area that has less than 1 in 1,000 annual probability of pluvial or fluvial flooding. For even the most conservative of local planning authorities, these are pretty safe odds. Moving on to air quality concerns, the operational impacts of the industrial park on residents in the vicinity were found to be negligible. The 2020 amended scheme was only found to have increased nitrogen dioxide concentrations by 0.75% for the nearest receptors on Weldon Road. The development is not expected to expose any receptors to unacceptable levels of pollutants for its lifetime. The picture looks equally positive with regards to noise pollution. On Geddington Road, the increase in average traffic noise in 2020 predicted with the development as opposed to without the development is a mere 0.6 of a decibel. This too is deemed to be a negligible impact on the locality. The same sentiment is mirrored on the other 3 access roads assessed. Having looked in depth at the various statutory consultee reports, it is clear to me that the direct impact of Midlands Logistics Park on the environment is minimal. For every environmental issue, the developer has taken appropriate mitigating measures in order to satisfy the local planning authority. This being said, the main environmental blunder of the logistics park has been the increased daily vehicle movements on Geddington Road by a staggering 4,979. The result has been an increase in congestion, a seemingly discernible reality which was overlooked by the planners despite receiving 200 written objections from locals pre-development. This is backed up by East Northamptonshire Council's planning officer, Dean Wishart, who said the mega warehouse project was a signature departure from the approved vision for the area, believing that Corby Council was considering the economic benefit and jobs at the expense of other factors such as potential traffic problems. Furthermore, Bill Heelan from Stannion Parish Council stated that it was an outrageous application and questioned whether the promises of jobs and infrastructure would ever come to fruition. He told the councillors, "Do not be beguiled by brochures. The applicant has but one aim. This is to achieve planning permission." He then went on to say, "It's about time you as a council had a seismic change and put residents, not businesses, first." Having set out on this project to discover the environmental impacts of Midlands Logistics Park, I've discovered that despite its 250-acre footprint, it is a surprisingly sympathetic scheme, which has had minimal net effect on the surrounding natural environment. The evidence we have presented in this video, both statistical and anecdotal, actually suggests that the development has had a more lasting negative impact on the local people, not the planet. Thank you for listening, and if you've got any questions, please send me an email and I'll be happy to answer them.